When people don't live with the understanding and the belief that human value is inherent, they are constantly trying to compensate for their worthlessness. That's what that model was doing. That poor woman who committed suicide. She lived her life, her whole life, trying to compensate for her worthlessness. And in the end, she just realized it was just a total waste of time, because on some level she realized what I just told you, that if she has to earn her worth, if it has to come from outside of her, then she herself is worthless. That is just devastating. To us as human beings, that is a devastating conclusion to reach. I'm worthless. It means no matter what I do, no matter what I do, no matter what I achieve, no matter what I have, no matter how I look, no matter what is worthless, what is inherently worthless, will always be worthless. Whatever has to be granted worth from outside of itself does not contain any worth itself. It's worthless. Even with all those things. Remember, it's like covering your hand with a bunch of jewels, and you say, look at how valuable my hand is. No, your hand, if somebody prices your hand with those jewels on at $20 million, where's the value coming from? Isn't it the jewels? The jewels are worth $20 million. Even if you take them off the hand, they're still worth $20 million. Your hand is no longer worth $20 million, is it? That's how external worth works. And people know that on some level. On some level, even if they don't sit and really reason it out, as the woman, that poor woman that we talked about a couple weeks ago, clearly didn't do. She didn't sit down and get to the root of all this and figure that out. But she knew it. She knew it on some level. That's why she did what she did. What I mean is, she knew what the formula meant on some level. That if her value has to come from outside of her, it has to be granted to her from external sources, then she herself is worthless, and she always will be. And it just devastated her. It paints such a bleak reality, such a pointless, bleak reality. And the real reality is the exact opposite. It's just so hard when you're raised with that understanding of how value works to go from that and to truly convince yourself that your worth is inherent. You don't have to earn it. Now, we've talked about how if you're, let's say that you're a janitor, all right? You're a janitor. Your value as a janitor, yes, is dependent on things. So, for example, how well you do your job, how valued you are by the company, right? If you're not doing your job very well and you don't know what you're doing, you don't clean very well, you don't fix things, you don't put your things away and all that sort of thing, you come into work late, these things affect your value as a janitor, but they don't affect your value as a person, right? And I don't think a lot of people make that distinction. You can be a poor mother. If you're a poor mother and you mistreat your kids, your value as a mother can be affected by that, but not your value as a person. Your value as a human being is inherent to being a human being. A janitor may not always be a janitor. He might go out and decide to become a mechanic or a Supreme Court justice or a scientist or any number of things, right? But can you say that about him as a human? Is he ever going to not be a human? No, not ever. And his worth as a human is based on what he is, not on how well he performs as a human. It's based on the fact that he's just a human. That's inherent worth.